Hello, hello. Hello, members. Hello, subscribers. And happy Thursday. As you can see, I have had a shower. Kind of blend my blush a little bit. I like these because it gets my hair out of my face, and I cannot stand getting my hair on my face. Anyway, how's everybody doing for Hot Topics Thursday? People stressed out, anything like that? Sure were a lot of questions. My goodness. All right, let's go ahead and say hi to everybody who's hanging with me today. Much appreciated. Hi, Emery Camus. We have a lot of questions. Yeah, Tina Perucci, hi, thank you for your help today. Good to see you here. Fran George, hi, good to see you as well. Greetings to Ohio. Judy Jamerson, welcome. Miss Brazil, 1955, welcome, welcome. Spirit Beyond the Stars is here. Kimberly, Jennifer Cooper, hello. Grand Marie D, hello. Carter Mancy Mesquite, give her a round of applause for coming in and helping. It's much appreciated. Tina Perucci, thank you for your help. Desiree Robato, thank you so much. So, hi, Cindy Thompson. Good to see you, and thanks for joining, becoming a member, all that good stuff. So, has anybody tried to use HCRV to put themselves in the shoes of Putin? Any remote viewers out there try to profile Putin the last couple days? Does it feel like the energy has changed? We knew that the energy would change in 4 days. We knew that nobody wanted Kyiv to fall, that there was this tacit feeling that they would go in if battle took place in Kyiv. So Israel came in, the Prime Minister of Israel, and he had a private meeting with Putin on Saturday. That would have been the 4th day. And then after he spoke with Putin, he spoke to Zelensky. So that happened after the 4th day. How does it feel to be Putin right now? Like there's got to be a way out of this. I want to get out of it. And I had a couple things to say, but I knew that there would be pushback. And it goes back to how you perceive of yourself when you're an FSB officer. So the FSB, which used to be the KGB, changed its name to the FSB. Putin used to be working for the KGB, and then, of course, later the FSB. And when you put yourself in the shoes of what it is to be an FSB officer, you have a lot of pride and a lot of dedication to your country and to your family, and you do have a sense of ethics. We've talked in the past about how do you get yourself assassinated by the FSB. And the number one way you get yourself assassinated by the FSB is if you work for the FSB, if you yourself are a spy and you're caught betraying your own country. If you start handing information to the Americans, then you're basically, if you know as an FSB officer that the first rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club, right? The same with FSB officers. The first thing they do is you don't talk to the enemy. You don't give information to the enemy. So at that point, you've pretty much signed your death certificate. So there are ethics about who the FSB will target. A spy who betrays their own, absolutely, we would take that person out. Somebody who is a dissident who's trying to overthrow Putin or creating problems like that, yeah, They'll lock him up. They'll put him in prison. Protesters, Pussy Riot, yeah, but they probably won't kill them because they have a standard, believe it or not, a type of ethics about who they'll kill versus who they'll throw in prison versus who they'll poison. Navalny, a political dissident. So whether people want to believe it or not, that is also an integral part of Putin that you have to take into consideration. That he is a tried and true FSB officer. Do you think that he likes hearing that a maternity ward has been bombed and that people are talking about screaming pregnant women? How do you think an FSB officer is going to digest information like that? Or does Putin like hearing that an orphanage has been bombed? Or does Putin like hearing that 4,000 of his own soldiers have been killed, some of them high-ranking officers, and that he's going to have to call their parents? So this goes back to when we have done profiles on Putin in the past, what he is concerned about, high numbers of Russian soldiers dying and then being responsible. So in ancient times, what would you do? This goes back way back. We'll go 10,000 years ago to the story of Chango in the Yoruba tradition of the Nigerians, right? The king takes you into battle and he screws up and he doesn't know what he's doing and he gets a bunch of people killed and so he takes his own life. That's the story of Chango. He was a great warrior. He didn't plan properly for a battle. His own countrymen were slaughtered. And so because he felt guilty about what he had done, he hung himself. So this is a very common cross-cultural study, is that the hero commits hara-kiri, some kind of honorable death in order to atone for what he has done. So that's one option, right? You could have the hero as Putin in this story take his own life or take one for the team. But is that really Putin? Is that really the Putin we all know and love? Not really. No, Putin is more the guy who is going to look for option number two. And option number two is you find somebody to blame. So, say, for example, in the case of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. Yes, I know. You don't like to say it, but he was. So, say, for example, in the case of Donald Trump, somebody finds some documents showing that he bribed somebody or gave some stripper money so that nobody would find out about her. So what did he say? What did Trump say? Well, I don't know anything about that. You'd have to talk to my lawyer, right? So the lawyer becomes the fall guy, right? The lawyer becomes the fall guy. So if you go back to what I posted today, there was an exchange between Putin and one of his men, one of his high-ranking security people. Did everybody see that? I posted it. It was from a few days ago. So this goes back to Stalin. Stalin did this. He would surround himself with sycophants, similar to Donald Trump. Well, I don't know anything about that. Rudy Giuliani is my lawyer. You'll have to talk to my lawyer, right? First it was Michael Cohen, then it was Rudy Giuliani. You got to have a fall guy. And so the second option for Putin, if he doesn't want to fall on his sword, like Saul, who fell on his sword, right? If you don't want to do that, then you're going to have to find a fall guy. You're going to have to find somebody to blame and say, my general screwed up. He gave us false information. My head of security screwed up. The general. So in plain words, the out for Putin is that he builds a strong propaganda campaign blaming 3 or 4 high-ranking people that are his highest-ranking sycophants, the people that gave him the craziest stories, right? The people that hovered the closest to him, those are the people that are going to get blamed. The Michael Cohens, the Giulianis, the person who's such a sycophant, they're coming up with crazy, insane ideas because they've convinced you that you're Zeus, right? So when you look at the person he was attacking in that film footage, which I posted, that particular guy, there's one guy named Sergio and there's another guy named something else, Novinsky or something like that. Anyway, you can be sure in another month, if Putin survives this, those people will probably be arrested or go missing, because the right-wing hawks are the people that he's going to turn around and blame for this. What do you think? Did he look like he enjoyed telling mothers that their children weren't going to be coming home? Talking about the mothers being carried out on stretchers, about to give birth. Does that make an FSB officer? You see yourself as a knight in shining armor, right? That's kind of the young, naive person that joins that elite unit, right? They're the knight in shining armor that's going to rescue the damsel in distress from the evil, horrible Western axis of evil, the capitalists, etc. So you have these idealistic ideas, and you've got someone you have to blame for the fact that 4,000 or 5,000 of your people are not coming home. So if Putin is how we suspect he is, and if you follow the energy of this type of profile, he's going to have to find someone to blame. Does that make sense? What do y'all think about that? Upsetting. It is. I'm feeling y'all. I'm feeling the upset. I'm feeling the upsetness. And I hear you. The scapegoat. The more desperate they become, the more because they start blaming their sycophants. Who was the last person that Donald Trump blamed when they came with a noose on January 6th? Who were they going to hang? Who were exactly Copper Broom? They were coming after Pence, the biggest sycophant of all, right? Chase after Pence. Pence caused this problem. I didn't fail because I ran a bad campaign and because I was a lousy president. No, the problem is Pence. So they went chasing after Pence. Okay. So Maggie Gilmore. Hi, Maggie Gilmore. I apologize. I'm going back and forth. Maggie Gilmore wants to know if America is preparing for war. All right, are we ready to blitz, blitz, blitz away? You want to hear the empath's prayer and then do some blitzes? Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together we say, Amen. Okay, so is America preparing to go to war? You know, it amazes me how much Putin is like Donald Trump. You know, when you go into this energy, how do I feel as Putin? It goes back to what I had said before. When I was Putin, I was getting angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier. Every time Americans would try and reason with me, I'd get angrier and angrier. But then I started feeling as Putin that maybe I had bit off more than I could chew, that maybe I had gone too far, right? So then I started thinking, wow, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this. I got to figure out how to get out of this. So that goes back to this idea that the most likely outcome for Putin is that he is going to want to get out of this quagmire sooner rather than later. He knows he can't win, and he has gotten frightened of the response. In plainer words, when you start threatening nuclear weapons to the United States and to NATO, there are consequences, which means that certain missile systems get activated, certain defense systems. Do you really want to threaten the United States, Mr. Putin? Because the United States is taking it very, very seriously, which means that we are ready to blow Moscow off the map if you keep threatening us. If we're going to intercept those missiles, and it will wipe out Russia. So you have to be, so what Putin is assessing right now is he has to take into consideration that his threats were so over the top that they created an extremely aggressive reaction from the West. So now he has to backpedal. He has to figure out how to get the hell out of here. So the only way, you guessed it again, is to find someone to blame. So the United States is definitely headed to Europe. There's definitely open communication. Here is the thing. If this continues, special ops will go in and they'll take over those nuclear power plants, and it won't be pretty. So the United States traveling, communicating world events, where the US is at right now, confused, doesn't know what to do. This is the same as the last time. The sun is coming up over the situation. What is above? Death and transformation of the situation with the United States, coming up with a multitude of ideas. Putin would agree to some kind of a summit. He wants to talk about the NATO boundaries, trade, etc., and trade restrictions. Fears of a global catastrophe are heading into sane reason, reasonable people coming in, mediators, people trying to heal the situation. They're going to say he can get out of war crimes because he's going to blame it on others. He can still get out of this, Putin, and survive. America can avoid a war. That's the temporary solution. The most likely temporary solution is that Putin withdraws. He blames some of his henchmen. They get arrested and executed. The US goes back into negotiations with Russia, where they really are defeated, but they won't make it look like they're defeated. That's the most likely outcome. Because Putin scared himself. You know, you can't act like that and threaten a nuclear war and expect the US and everybody else to sit back and wait for something to happen. Well, Dana, we can intercept a ballistic missile. We have missile interceptors in Romania. So if he were to fire a short range or even a medium range from Russia or Ukraine, it would be intercepted and then it would come raining down all over Moscow. So it would be a stupid thing to do. Okay, so let's see here. All right, we'll just look at nuclear arsenal of Whimsy. Look at the New Mexico nuclear arsenal. New Mexico? I need clarification on that. What about our astronaut? Do we have an astronaut that can't get down? Okay, what is going on with the astronaut? What is going on with the astronaut? Is this? Somebody just said this? Oops. Oh, sorry. I'm opening up things. I apologize. Hope I'm not messing. Okay. Did I freeze myself? No, I'm okay, right? Okay, Becky wants to know, what about our astronaut? Everything seems to be fine with the astronaut. Success with the work. Going to be finishing up the work soon. What were they doing up there? This astronaut's kind of a self-absorbed. He's kind of no drama astronaut, whoever this person is. They're just working. Is there a problem down there? No, he's fine. Fine, coming down, fine. Business gets taken care of. I would imagine that these types of fights seem very small to you as an astronaut. I hear that when the Russians and the Americans work together, you start realizing that it's one planet, right? So, no, I don't think they're going to hurt him. All right, so TK wants to know, will Russia use chemical or biological weapons in the Ukraine? Will Putin use biological weapons in the Ukraine? Good question. Oops. I don't know. It just feels like sanity is starting to reign. It's like somebody went crazy. They did a crazy thing, and that people are going to snap out of it. That's the best way to describe it. Right now, absolute craziness, the moon, the scholars come. I know that NATO nuclear scientists have been allowed to go in and check to make sure the nuclear reactors are okay. So it's the scientist prevailing. Sound judgment, right? The Queen of Wands, and then the Empress. So this isn't looking like, you know, you never say never. People didn't think that this was like Putin to act like this, but this has the energy of some kind of ceasefire that holds. You can see here the law coming in over the confusion, the scientist strength, the intellectuals, the ethics over the Queen of Wands. So the ethics over the issue. And then here, peace treaty, Ace of Cups coming in. It's not a popular war. Putin is losing the popularity. All he can do is blame somebody else and get out. And use that as a defense against war crimes, that he was receiving misinformation. I thought I was fighting Nazis. I was told they wanted to get rescued, that they were pleading for help. My advisors gave me misinformation. What do you think about that? Oh, we have a new member. Hello, Debbie Brady. Welcome to Fairies and Angels. Are you going to be a fairy or an angel? If you're a dream coach, you might have to be a bit of a fairy. Interesting. Yeah, geocosmic. I mean, this guy can avoid prison just like Donald Trump forever and ever and ever. Delay with his lawyers claiming, what did I know? I was surrounded by these hawkish generals who thought that we were doing something good for these people. What did I trust my advisors to tell me he's going to get off. If he's smart, he'll take the deal. Find someone to blame, slither off. Use lawyers to protect yourself. Putin wants to have a UN meeting to discuss U.S. using chemical weapons in Ukraine. Yeah, Malcolm X believes that they can win. Is there going to be an earthquake in Japan? That's an interesting question. I don't know. Eventually, right? All right, what is going on in Japan? Earthquakes, floods, bad weather, bad sushi. Something's got to be going on. What is going on with... See, Whimsy has to delay her vacation. You see, I'm not going to be able to go on a vacation until the world gets... We have to make the world right so that I can go on my vacation. I'm being silly. Okay. What's going on with Japan? Oh, they're getting a lot of new jobs. Their car industry is really going to be picking up. Their industry is really headed in a positive direction. Oh, a lot of great international deals going on. I see the economy of Japan doing very well in the coming years. Look at this, new contracts and new work. Back and forth. They're going to have a lot of people buying their cars, it looks like. Time of the Queen of Swords. Yes, being very stoic. And look at that, great offers going forward. I don't see an earthquake. I see Japan doing well economically. Well, they're ahead of the curve in terms of doing things like getting rid of plastic, environmental stuff. In some ways, their small, compact, eco-friendly cars are doing better than the American cars. Their economy's doing well. That's interesting. Well, I think innovation is chariot, cars, movement. I think innovation over transportation is a big area of money, and whoever comes up with the cheapest way to produce it, cheap, light cars that are safe, that are going to be part of the new economy. Ahead in AI, it doesn't surprise me with those types of cards. Oh, the airfare, I know. See, maybe it's a sign that. So my friend and I said, well, maybe we'll just go hiking in Oregon if we're having if airfares are through the roof and everything, because I'm all about go with the flow. So if airfares through the roof, then I'll do some camping and foresting in Oregon. Okay, so Geocosmic Valentine wants to know when the price of oil is going to come down. That's a good question. When is the price of oil going to come down? When's the price of oil going to come down? Gosh, this new Putin, he does not want to see this. Putin wants us back. He wants his business back. He wants out of this war and back to business as fast as possible. How fast could we give up the sanctions if Putin agrees to withdraw? A lot of it has to do with the war and decisions that have to be made about how quickly they can get a peace deal. The sanctions took a real big effect because you can see the peace deals here. And look here. So if they say, as soon as you can withdraw and sign ABC, we will reinstate your gas and oil contracts, that would be a motivation to get out, right? They'll be stable between spring and summer of this year. Judgment gives up the fight. Interesting, huh? All right. So next question is coming from Kimberly. I love Australia. I think I need to go live in Australia. What do you think? I'm feeling good about Australia. I like Australia. Let's see what's going on with Australia with the flooding. First, you guys had horrible fires, and then you had horrible flooding. There's a lot of money that's going to be put into preserving Australia. You can see 9 of Pentacles there, which would be opening up to power, financial benefit, and then Ace of Pentacles there. So they're coming into their power financially. They're going to be okay. Looks like they've got savings, 9 of Pentacles. Also, Ace of Pentacles is there. So they're putting a ton of money into infrastructure, 6 of Cups. True love coming with ethics. They're working very hard to preserve Australia. What is above? Negotiating. What they're sitting in. New contracts, new deals. What are they coming out of? 2 of Pentacles and entering into 2 of Cups. Becoming a lot more environmentally active, even with a conservative party being in the lead, because this is all about the environment. They had also stopped funding smaller projects. They need to go back to funding those. Everything's going to be okay. Leaving the flood waters, going into smooth waters. Strong partnerships lay ahead for Australia. The High Priestess moves in. Power and truth. Concern about losing support. Yeah, so I think the environment and preserving and protecting Australia is going to become a big issue going forward politically. And so whoever decides to run, it has to be a main platform, because based on what I saw there, it could cost conservative party seats in the future. So that was interesting seeing that. So oil is going up everywhere. $5 a gallon. That can't be good. Well, Nancy, I think that the incentive is to get him to leave his troops. I mean, he's if you have a peace treaty and you agree to certain things, certain trade deals, as an incentive to leave, he would get some of his treaties. That makes sense. You have to give him something. Okay, so Maxine Waters wants to know what happened with jet deal falling through. Why did Poland want to transfer to Germany at US base? Okay, let's find out. What happened with that falling through? Good question. It has something to do with training pilots. And getting the fact that certain things that America cannot get involved with, and it had something to do with training pilots. There was an argument about something that it had to do with the space, because it would start to look like America was involved, and something about U.S. pilots training other pilots, that became the issue. Something they attempted to get away with. Then King of Wands. It became, Putin was threatening. Look, Putin was like a bully. He was sitting with the nuclear power plants, threatening to turn off their power and cause them to overheat and all kinds of things. If you don't give me what I want, I've got these 4 nuclear power plants, and I can make life hell for people. So it becomes this game of mouse, where he's threatening people, and he's going to turn Chernobyl into a dirty bomb, right? But then his own advisors and people who he respects come and tell him, look, you're starting to act so crazy that If you keep this up, you're going to get us all killed, and you're going to attract a situation that's potentially dangerous for all of us, because the Americans are taking your threats very seriously. So I think that causes him to back off a little bit. So, in answer to Maxine Waters, what happened with the jet deal falling through? Conflict. They found themselves in a situation they couldn't be in the conflict. The conflict tied in knots. They had to walk away. They had to hang it up. Attempt at theft, Ace of Swords. So the theft, I'm assuming, is Putin. Attempt at theft, and then over over Ukraine, Ace of Swords, they have victory over the theft, and then some kind of deal has to take place. It's like the child who Putin is like the child who went too far, and they keep trying to see what they can get away with, and then they really go far. And then the child starts to become frightened because they know daddy's coming home. It's that the difference between mommy's annoyed and your father's been called and he's coming home from work early to address this problem. Those are two different levels of fear. So, you know, well, W. Zucon, the Daily Beast, thank you for the comment, is reporting a change in tone on Russian state TV, questioning the reasoning for continuing the war. Were they instructed by Putin? Look, Putin wants out. He doesn't. God, I'm telling you, even though people say he's a thug, he doesn't care. There's an honor to being an F. You saw these men saw themselves as knights in shining armor. They didn't see themselves as the people responsible for burying little Ukrainian children or bombing a maternity ward. Or this is not. It's not fitting with his fantasies. He can always go and say, well, they told me it was different. Well, Mimi Rose, I think that's the issue, right? He can just keep delaying and blaming his advisors and getting his attorneys. That's exactly what's going to happen. So it is what it is. All right. So Simeon Milosevic, the mob boss, somebody had asked if I could look at what the mob boss thinks of this. Simeon Milosevic. This question is coming from Kathleen Brannon. So okay. No, there it is. Not Silosevic, Milosevic. See, I couldn't see. All right, so we're looking at what the mobsters think, like Simon Milosevic. There's this one guy, Mikhaila Milosevic or something like that, who is one of Putin's trusted advisors, who's not crazy. That I could see that guy coming in and taking over for Putin. And I think he handles the power of the ruble. Well, that was different. Syria was the other. This were fellow Serbs. This wasn't the enemy. Okay, so some Russian oligarchs and mobsters are afraid of Putin and actually are avoiding him. They're trying to distance themselves from him. Some are trying to act as peacekeeper. Simone Milosevic is looking at his business and seriously wonders if his business is finished. Also, if his boats was one of the boats that was taken, it's probably under federal control, and they're probably removing bugs and finding out all kinds of things. Doing his homework, and then he's got the karma card there. Working with the world. Thinking, what is he going to do? The past placement for him, trying to heal the situation. I think they think he's gone crazy. He went into an extremist. Oh, and also there's pressure from the church to end it. Remember, the church was going to start complaining, and evidently the church signed a letter from all the bishops saying to end the war. So there's pressure from that as well. I don't see this person dying or anything, this Simeon Milosevic, but I do see him wanting to, he's not backing Putin here. Because this is all about negotiating peace, coming with the Knight of Cups. I think Putin wants out. I think Putin doesn't want to admit defeat. Look, if he can blame somebody else, it's not his defeat, it's somebody else's. Hi, Angie. Oh. Okay, Elaine Swenson wants to know, will Putin's behavior negatively impact the U.S.-Russian mafia in this country? Well, I mean, in answer to your question, Elaine, these people see it as business. If you are working for a bank and your job is to improve your country's reputation abroad, and you're offering interest rates to people in real estate so that you can buy up real estate in New York and parts of Florida and everywhere else, you don't see yourself as evil. You're just somebody that works for the bank that's offering a really great deal to American businessmen, some of whom have politically involved with which party, that party. So you look at construction, and construction has a lot of mafia involved with it, which has a lot with the Russian mafia, which is going to the Russian bank, which is giving low interest rate loans so that they can build. See how this is working? So yeah, everything is connected. The truth comes out. Archangel Michael over 4 wands. Something new is beginning in the relationship. King of Wands. Sanity is prevailing too. New aggressive, it could be that a lot is going on with Merrick Garland and the Justice Department January 6th, that they literally shut everything down. And this was kind of the last straw. If you look at what Merrick Garland is doing with his Justice Department, and you talk about some of what, uh, Robert Mueller had talked about, right? That certain things were gonna be shut down, like the money would eventually get shut down, the banking, the yachts would be seized, etcetera, and I think that we're now in the beginnings of that, but gosh, it took forever. The Flim Flam Man, the Two of Pentacles. So all these people, in answer to your question, Elaine, that took out money or bribes or did business with these banks, their relationship, if it was contingent on doing nice things for Russia, like all of the senators who flew to Russia to show their loyalty to Russia on July 4th, how many of them were borrowing or being gifted things from Russia in exchange for basically being a private lobbyist for Russian interests? That's basically what they're saying. So, yes, definitely connection. Ace of Wands here, business again. Something about also a business investigated loads of evidence carrying the heavy load. There's a federal raid also. So, any of these contracts or any of these lying in order to get more money, particularly if the bank in question was a Russian bank doing business in the United States, could also trigger some kind of an audit. Federal audits, looking at the money, investigating the money. Feds again. Yeah, they shut there it is again. Philanthropists, the money. They were foolish. Again, they were foolish. So it goes back to what we had seen before with Putin, that it's not just one person who's been compromised. It's not just Donald Trump that's been compromised. A lot of people have been compromised. Donald Trump was just one person. A lot of people took out loans from banks. A lot of people were money laundering for the Russian mob. And then they were being helped to run campaigns. And then they were secretly becoming lobbyists for those foreign countries. I know. Pretty sick, right? Well, the same thing. Crypto is going to start being regulated, purple sky, for the same reason. They couldn't chase the money. They couldn't get the money. People were being paid in crypto to become secret agents, basically, of foreign countries. So how many foreign agents do we have sitting in Congress right now? Yeah, ESL brings up this point. CIA and FBI may also be compromised. You don't think you're being compromised when you find out you're getting a good interest rate, or people are just being really nice to you, and wow, they're really nice at that bank. It's a very slow process. Sergey is the negotiator. Well, you're talking about Lavrov or the other one? The guy he was insulting, I think, is one of the people that's going to be blamed. I support whatever you do. That's not what I was asking. You support what I do? You're the one that encouraged it. Oh, well, I think, yes, exactly. You thought I should do it. So why is he making sure that guy says it on record? Because if this falls apart, this is the guy that caused this to happen. It's like straight out of Stalin, right? Crazy, 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 crazy. Oh, hi, Anna. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your donation. All right, let's see about the negotiations between Putin and the West, when this nightmare will stop. Okay, the deal had to do with the fact that NATO was encroaching on certain areas and would be able to control supply routes, trade routes. So that was why he was opposed to NATO, because they started here, then they went here, then they went here, then they went here, then they went here. And then NATO acts as a bully to set prices and then to control roads, etc. We talked about that. So it had to do with the money. And the fact that he felt that we were in violation of what we agreed to in 1993, that we wouldn't expand beyond certain areas, and we did. And so he felt it was in violation of the legal court over the issue of money, over Archangel Michael, a truth, also mediation, right? Spies, right? Page of Swords is also associated with spying back and forth. What happens in the end to Putin? He winds up in a situation he can't get himself out of. So, a couple things going on. Number one, how did the United States get so much secret information about what Putin was planning on doing? Because he had spies. He had spies from deep within his intelligence agencies telling us everything, which means some of his generals and some of the people that he's closest to are responsible for the mess he's in, and they're responsible for selling things to the West. So this is where Putin's head is at, right? So this is what it is to work for a malignant narcissist. Get me out of this, make me look good, and get me out of this. I definitely think he's humbled. Walking away from a battle he cannot win. The courts hold. I don't know what that means. He can't prevent them from being NATO if they want to be NATO. Some judgment comes down, and somebody's boundaries are held up, right? Queen of Wands, my space, right? My way, boom, boom, my way. Queen of Wands holds the space. Yoriel, right? Holds the space. Boom, boom. So, I don't think Putin can win because it's not like Ukraine offered to never become part of NATO. It's not up. It wasn't. It's not up to the United States. So they can't. He can't blame the United States for the fact, and he can't hold us responsible and expect an independent country to not become NATO if they want to. All right. So Maxine Waters wants to know if Ukraine will join NATO. Ooh, let's do it. So I have a couple announcements also. I was with GenBook for people who were making bookings with me, but then I got a message from GenBook saying, we're going to be Booksy now. We're going to switch over to another company called Booksy. I was happy with GenBook. Anyway, so GenBook transferred everything over to Booksy. So if you're trying to get an appointment with me, the information below is with Booksy now, not with GenBook. So I apologize for that. It's a bit of a drag, but Chuck and I are figuring out how to do Booksy. Also, if you'd like to come in for a reading and you don't have a lot of money, but you have one question only. I am on Wizio. I think it's $20. I tape it so you have it permanently if you have a question. And then finally, I'm on Patreon now. Woohoo! Private videos for fans. It's just a way of getting together, hanging out with me, hearing my dark, deepest secrets, and helping me pay off my student loans. Won't that be fun? So if you'd like to help along and join, the Patreon information is below as well. Yes, Russian incompetence. Darren Smith is talking about that. Yeah, one of the worst defeats in Russian history, isn't it? Very embarrassing, isn't it? I feel like sanity is starting to prevail. You know, it's starting to slowly get starting to slowly get not quite as crazy. Il- You know, he can do one of two things. He can try and find a scapegoat and get out of it, or he can do a fake false flag, which is to bomb something, which is really crazy. So he's either going to get more crazy or he's going to try and find a way out. It looks like he's trying to find a way out. Oh, I'm sure the spaceman, I don't think the astronaut is going to be hurt. I think he's going to be fine. Putin is worried about his legacy, says Dwight Langdon. Yes, I think so. I didn't see the interview with Merrick Garland. Russia arrests Putin and turn him into the Hague. No, I don't think that's what they're going to do. Instead, they're going to blame his advisors who gave him faulty information, and then those people are going to be blamed. And then he'll probably use a bunch of legal team to protect him and say that he was just listening to his bad advisors. That's the most likely outcome. All right, Ace of Cups wants to know if the left has a future in the United States. Good question. You know why I don't use this, even though it's good when you're cleaning your house? Do you ever use these when you just want to get your hair out of your face? You know why these don't work though? They make you look older because when you pull my hair back, you can see my gray. But they're really convenient, you know, like I love the fact that I can wash dishes, I can clean, and no hair gets in my face. None of this has anything to do with what you're asking me, but I thought it was important and that I should say something. All right. The future of the left in politics. Oof. It feels like the left is having a real hard time. There's even legal action against the left. So it could even be a case of the law being used against the left. That's potentially a problem going forward. You can see here difficult times for the left, possibly the courts coming in, fear of jail, and then the sun coming out. So it's like there's a time of persecution of the left. I know a lot of people in the LGBTQ community, women's rights. These are dark times for the left. And I can definitely see with these types of cards, people looking at potentially civil disobedience, that sort of thing. Here you can see activists are just really feeling beaten down. Be patient, though. Be patient. Transformation of the situation. And then the sun comes out and strong. Yeah, because in another 10, 20 years, the people who can't vote right now are going to be able to vote. And they're not happy about losing all these rights. So they're saying, yes, in time, the left wins. Okay. People's Convoy is a dud. Yes, that turned out. The wider ones. I had to do a wider one to get rid of the gray. Or maybe I should just embrace my gray. Like, who says gray looks bad? You know? I don't know. Freedom Convoy. Well, that's very silly. Oh, yes, Ohio. They lost 5 Republican seats or something, right? What is the future of politics in Ohio? That's a good question. What is going on in Ohio? Ohio. It's going to be a slow process to get Ohio to turn blue, but it's slowly turning purple. You can see here the Hermit card coming in, intellectuals, the law, jobs, the old ways, right? Dogma, the old courts. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I would say give Ohio all we are saying is give Ohio a chance, not right away, but seniors remain in power in Ohio to some extent for a couple more years now, but you do see this rise of young people in politics in the future. So yeah, slowly but surely Ohio will start moving towards the blue. All right, folks. I think we've been here over an hour. I think so, Jonah Carson. I think that Trump will be charged. I think that every day he loses power. These are crazy times, though. It's just these are crazy times. But as crazy and terrifying as these times are, they will pass. We will get through this. All right. Thank you, everyone who's become a member. Much supported. Much appreciate the support. Excuse me. Appreciation to everyone who donated today. Again, sorry for the inconvenience. If you're trying to book with me, it's through Booksy. Information is below the video. Be well, everyone. Support the other readers, all that good stuff. All right, I'm off to make my salmon dinner now. Signing off.